Welcome to Off Top. My name is Dylan Wilson, and today I got a special guest. His name is Kevin Rice of the Cowboys Campfire Chatter podcast. You can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Dylan. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, and just ready to talk some Cowboys football and their big W yesterday.
Yeah, man. So, just give me some quick reactions to the game. It was a pretty good game, right? Even though it was an ugly win.
Yeah, the Cowboys came out firing on offense. 13 first downs in the first quarter. So I
NFL
expect.
record.
Yeah, yeah. When before the game started, I was on record saying it was going to be a very high scoring game, which I thought a lot of people did. And the first quarter I thought showed that I was going to be right. But then after that, I don't really know what happened to the offense. You got to give the Chargers defense a lot of credit, but man, we only scored 6 points in the last three quarters. So you gotta credit the defense for this one for keeping us in the game and getting timely turnovers. But yeah, the first thing that jumped off the screen for me was just Dak and the offense rolling, and the first Trayvon Diggs pick really set the tone for the game, I think, on defense.
Can we talk about Trayvon Diggs for a second? Because I kind of have a hot take, but maybe not so because I feel like I'm ahead of the curve on it. I think we are witnessing the best corner in the league. People just don't realize it yet. How do you feel about that?
I personally think that's a little bit too far right now. There's a lot of great corners in the league. Jalen Ramsey obviously comes to mind. Stephon Gilmore, when he's healthy, comes to mind. But I doubted Trayvon Diggs earlier in the offseason. During the preseason and during Hard Knocks when he was getting all that hype, all that love, I was sort of getting frustrated with Cowboys fans because they kept calling him elite and stuff. And I was like, I'm not ready to call him elite, but damn, he's sure getting to that level. So by the end of this year, he could be a top 5 corner for sure, top 5, top 10. But I think he still has the scary thing. He's still got a lot of room to improve. So we haven't seen the best of him, but
his ceiling is sky high, man.
Yeah, when's the last time we had a corner with these ball skills? 5 interceptions he has, or 6 interceptions in his first 15 career games. It's refreshing to see.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So let's say he continues to play how he is right now through 2 weeks. I know it's early, but let's say he continues to play how he is, shutting down, following the top receivers. Mike Evans and Keenan Allen are no slouches, and let's say he continues that, and all the way through the end of the year, he's got to be in that conversation for best in the league, right?
If he continues what he's done now for the first 2 weeks, then yeah, he will certainly be in the conversation. Keenan Allen had over 100 yards yesterday, but it certainly didn't feel like that. He had 2 big plays, but he only had 4 receptions. So while he had over 100 yards, Diggs kept him in check for most of the game besides those 2 big plays, and one of them was an absolute dime by Justin Herbert. The one on the sideline that went for 45 yards. It was an absolute dime. You can't. What are you going to do on that throw? But yeah, he's got to give credit where credit's due. He's balled out, and I think I was reading he has the 4th or 5th highest or lowest completion percentage against this year so far. So yeah, if he continues this up, he should definitely be in the conversation, no doubt about it.
Heck yeah. So, what'd you think of Dak's performance yesterday?
Dak. Let me start it off by saying it's better for Dak to not ball out like he did on last Thursday and we get a W. I would prefer he balled out and we get a W, both of them. But I'm going to be honest. Dak, the first drive was good. First quarter he was really good, except for I really think that interception that he threw, a lot of people think it was a miscommunication. I just think it was a bad decision and a bad throw. I mean,
You think he overthrew CD Lamb as opposed to the miscommunication theory
I
with
do, I
Amari
do,
Cooper?
I do. I mean, in week one, CD and Dak had some miscommunications. It definitely seemed like it on the field, but I think those ones were more obvious. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it was a bad throw and a bad decision. I mean, it sailed on him for sure, and I thought it was a costly interception. The Cowboys offense was rolling at that time. I think we were up 7-3. Isn't it when it was just after we got the Diggs interception, so
Yep.
it would have been nice to put some points on the board and sort of spread the lead. So I thought it was also a key point in the game for the Chargers.
So you think overall, do you think he had a solid game? Because for me, go ahead.
No, I mean, overall, I think he had a solid game. Not great, but I mean, he did complete 23 of 27 passes, so that's like 85%.
85%. Yep.
And but a lot of those throws were short, really short. He didn't really stretch the field, but that wasn't really part of the game plan. It seems like.
Los Angeles was doubling Amari and CD at times.
Yeah, so for sure.
I mean, had to keep it short.
Yeah, he definitely had to keep it short, and also obviously we didn't want Bosa to wreck the game. But I mean, I think he obviously played well enough to win, but I think he played a slightly above average. I mean, the completion percentage obviously is nice, and he had an expected completion percentage of 72, and he ended up with an 85%. So that's 13% above expectation, which is really good, obviously. But
there were a couple of darts in there, like that pass he fit in between like three defenders to on that final drive to Amari Cooper where he slipped and fell down.
That was his best throw of the game by far, and it was his most clutch. It was a clutch throw. So yeah, as I said, he did enough to win, and he played well enough to win, and that's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah. For me, I'm like, I've grown so accustomed to seeing Dak go nuclear that when he just has like a solid game, I'm like, what the heck happened?
No, for sure. I was surprised he didn't throw he didn't have a touchdown. And I mean, I had Dak in all my DraftKings leagues. I have him in my fantasy league. So I was expecting more numbers, I guess, more stats out of him. But obviously, no, go on.
Their secondary surprised me. Derwin James played really well, saved the touchdown on that almost miracle halftime touchdown.
Yeah, how fun was that play?
Man, that's back-to-back weeks now that we've almost had just like miraculous touchdowns.
Yeah, that reminded me of like the Tyreek Hill against the Cowboys in 2017. That horrible memory. Remember that play?
Yeah, I certainly do. And every time you see a Hail Mary now, it doesn't matter the game. Everybody brings it up. Oh, maybe they'll do the Kansas City thing. Remember that? They did that against Dallas. Stop bringing that up. Why are you bringing up old stuff? So I feel like Terrence Steele had a really solid game. He had some help and everything. I saw he had 3 pressures allowed, but overall, like, you're going against Joey Bosa, and he put together a pretty good game. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, he had 3 pressures given up, but I believe he had 0 quarterback hits, 0 quarterback sacks allowed. So, I mean, for someone who was severely doubted going into the game, he definitely proved a lot of haters and doubters wrong. I myself, I wasn't honestly particularly worried about the Chargers defense going into this game. And I did think Steele was going to have a little bit of problem, but playing alongside Martin and after a full year of reps for Steele, I was pretty confident he would be improved. And playing alongside Martin, as I just said, like, you can't take this granted the significance of that. He probably makes a lot of people better if they're playing right beside him. But I was super impressed with Steele. And now it raises my confidence for the next 4 weeks that, he can do the job until Lyle returns.
Yeah, that Lyle Collins is so like that situation is so confusing because you can't get suspended for missed tests, and his missed tests were seemingly excused. And if you do get popped for failing a test, there is no 5-game suspension. There's
There's a
like
4-game, right?
there's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 8. So where are they
Yeah.
getting the 5 games from? Like that
Yeah, I
whole
don't know.
situation is so. How do you test somebody twice a year for 18 or twice a month for 18 months, 180 tests, and like you're counting excused absences against them, and you're not getting any feedback, any explanation from the league. It's just
Yeah,
so confusing to me.
it doesn't make any sense. And as you said, one of those absences was the day of his surgery, wasn't it? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. The NFL is obviously not being transparent per usual. I mean, at this point, I doubt he wins the appeal. I mean, the appeal process, who knows how long it's going to take. But
At that point, the suspension's already going to be served regardless.
exactly, right?
Like,
At the end of the suspension, they'll probably be like, yeah, we screwed up again. I'm sorry.
sorry about that. Here's your game checks back.
Yeah, right. But
But
I don't pay too much attention to it, honestly. It just gives me headaches and makes me frustrated. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. But it is refreshing that Terrence Steele did hold up, and I was definitely one of those haters and doubters, and he proved me wrong. It's good to know that we have and Zach Martin coming back helps him out a lot too.
oh, for sure.
And speaking of Zach Martin, Tony Pollard had more. I think he had more yards per attempt rushing than Dak had passing. If I'm correct, and a lot of that, running behind Zach Martin.
Yeah, I mean, Pollard really balled out yesterday. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a better back than Zeke, but he was the better back yesterday, and that's 100% fact. He was everything the Cowboys want him to be: explosive, fast, big play guy, catches the ball out of the backfield, run plays for him in the red zone. That was a nifty play for him. I mean,
Yeah.
that was about as perfect as Tony Pollard will get for the Cowboys.
And on that play, they actually were using Joey Bosa's aggressiveness against them. So instead of trying to send Zeke, for example, to block Joey Bosa, they ran at him. So pretty witty play design by Kellen Moore. But as for Tony Pollard, as you said, he was the better back yesterday. Explosiveness, breaking tackles, making guys miss. And there's a conversation going around on Twitter that you can see people that want him to start, or I think that's nonsense. Zeke is your starter. He's going to be a starter, and he's still solid. He's a great pass blocker. He's still solid at running. But I do think you need to start splitting the carries with Tony Pollard, at least until Tony Pollard shows you that his play will drop off, because there's an assumption going around that if you give him more carries, then he won't be as efficient of a runner. But we haven't seen him. We haven't tested that theory. Why are we just assuming it's fact before we put it to the test?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you that it's nonsense to think that Pollard should start. I mean, Zeke didn't have a bad game. Zeke had a really good game, actually. He averaged 4.5 yards a carry, obviously the touchdown. I mean, he still had only 17, 18 carries. I mean, if we gave him 30 carries that game, like Derrick Henry gets, he has 130, 140 yards, and people aren't saying anything about Zeke. But the fact that he had less than 100 for the second week, all they do is look at the box score, and see that Tony Pollard had more yards on less carries. But quite a few people have pointed out on Twitter that Zeke faces 8-man boxes or stacked boxes 33% of the time, while Pollard only does so 18% of the time. So there's a big difference in what those two are seeing when they're running the ball, and you can't take that for granted. But
that could be the formations they're in as well. When Zeke's in, they get into more run-heavy formations, so they stack the box more.
No, that's true. But I agree. I think actually I'm not. What was the split on carries yesterday? I forget exactly. But honestly, if we could do that, something between Zeke getting 15 to 17 carries and Pollard getting 8 to 10 per game, I think that's perfect, honestly, and get some Pollard in on some screen passes, some passes. I think Kellen Moore. I mean, I have faith in Kellen Moore. His game plans the first 2 weeks have been beautiful. The Chargers were giving us favorable run offense formation. So what did we do? We pounded them into the ground for, I think, a little over 200 rushing yards on the game. I
Yes.
think we had more running attempts than passing attempts, which just speaks to Kellen Moore's versatility and adaptability and willingness to change. And I think Cowboys fans should love to see that.
I think I saw a quote today from Kellen Moore. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something along the lines of, "We are going to aggressively attack what the defense gives us." And we go back to week one. They're facing stacked boxes, a front seven that's close to the line of scrimmage. So they pass it a lot. They try to swing it out and get the ball outside the front seven, outside the box. And then this week you saw they were doubling the receivers. They're trying to play the pass and everything. So they kill you with the run. And it gives me a lot of confidence that they do have that adaptability, that they don't get stuck in their ways like we've seen with other regimes. And the fact that we can pass it or run it at will gives me a lot of confidence going forward in this season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what did we do? Week one, we threw for over 400 yards. Week two, we ran for over 200 yards. So can't get better than that on offense, man.
How'd you think the defense did?
Ooh, the defense. I'm going to give them credit first before I say anything bad about them. The pass rush looked a little bit better yesterday. Mainly, I would imagine Micah Parsons was
incredible.
Yeah, what did he? I think he was one of the highest rated pass rushers of the week. He could, I think he had a grade of almost 90 on PFF, according to PFF. But
that's insane.
but we had timely turnovers. That KZ interception was clutch, and we're not used to seeing clutch turnovers
at all,
or turnovers for that matter, except for Cowboys actually lead the league in turnovers forced this year with 6 through 2 weeks, which is, who would have ever guessed that in the offseason, But Herbert at one point, I think, completed like 13 or 14 consecutive passes.
He's incredible too.
Yeah,
I got to give credit where credit's due. He's awesome.
He is awesome. And he, I mean, the Cowboys just gave up they probably gave up more than I'm remembering, but I remember 3 3rd and 10 pluses that we gave up. And
on the same drive, right?
That was just I think 2 of them were on the same drive, and that was just infuriating. If you want to be a good defense, if you want to be a championship caliber defense, you simply cannot give those up, especially 2 or 3 on the same drive. It's just inexcusable.
I think the important thing is we're seeing a lot to love, where last season we saw pretty much nothing to love. But they're leading the league in takeaways, as you said. And the fact that we did get not only takeaways, but timely takeaways, clutch takeaways. And Micah Parsons, like, you're adding speed and explosiveness and versatility to your defense. We have great safety play for the first time in a long time. And as we get some of these starters back, like Neville Gallimore, we're going to get more pressure in the middle, and we're going to get Kelvin Joseph. We're going to start rounding him back into form pretty soon. And we're going to have some help in the secondary. And as the season goes along, this is a great foundation to build off of. And I'm excited for where this defense can go down the line.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're off to a pretty good start. As you said, we've showed a solid foundation for sure. And one player who I want to point out is just Jaron Kearse.
Yes.
All over the place yesterday. Should have had an interception and that bogus pass interference call. But man, the safety trio of Kearse, Hooker, and KZ yesterday was pretty good. And when Donovan Wilson comes back,
man,
yeah, we have some good safeties out there, or at least they've played well so far. Hopefully, they can keep it up. But
and every single one of those guys are playmakers. That is so different than what we're accustomed to.
I mean, I got to eat my words the first 2 weeks of the season. I honestly was super down on this secondary. I mean, week 1, they showed they sort of were a little suspect, mainly Anthony Brown. But I mean, to give up only 17 points to the Chargers, man, 2 clutch turnovers, I didn't think any way in hell that was going to happen. So I'm very, very impressed with them so far. We obviously have a lot of improving to do, but yeah, great start, great foundation, young players, man. We're fast, super fast, so much faster than the last few years. It's ridiculous. You don't even have to like football to notice how fast we are and how much better we are than the last 2 years. But it's certainly fun to watch. But man, I still get nervous when the defense is on the field. I'm not gonna lie to you. I still get very nervous.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Got flashbacks every time they step on the field. But you mentioned that pass interference on Curse. It was definitely bogus. But my biggest gripe is, okay, if you're going to call pass interference on that, fine. Like, if you're going to be ticky-tacky, fine. But then Cooper gets absolutely mugged and no pass interference on 4th down.
On 4th down, yeah, that was a bad call. I mean, the refs yesterday, let's face it, they were garbage. Absolute
Horrible.
garbage.
And I'm not usually the type to complain about the refs, but like yesterday was so like egregious, and the fact that they kept interjecting themselves and being the star of the game, it's off-putting as just a fan of football. And the inconsistencies between the pass interference. So not only did you take away a potential interception for us, you took away a 4th down conversion for us. So that's basically 2 turnovers right there that gets that one for them and one taken away from us. That's 2 possessions that go against us.
For sure. Wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. And they missed a bunch of holding calls on Micah. But at the same time, the Chargers got some blown calls too. So,
yes.
So, I mean, that Micah Parsons sack, maybe it was intentional grounding anyway. I still am claiming that that Eckler was 5 or so yards away from the pass. So technically there was a receiver in the area. Everyone that I've talked to on Twitter disagrees with me, but we can all agree that wasn't a sack. And imagine if that happened to Dak and the Cowboys, we would have burned the place down.
Yeah, I can't be a hypocrite. If that happened, I said on Twitter, if I was a Chargers fan, I would be pissed.
Pissed.
Like there's no the referees yesterday were bad for both sides, and I would feel sick to my stomach because they had 2 touchdowns that were negated because of like ticky-tack penalties, illegal shift, and the holding on the long touchdown they had.
Yeah, the one in the 4th quarter happened like I think that was the play right before the Parsons sack, that the touchdown to Jared Cook. I mean, the illegal shift, they showed the replay. I still didn't even see it, but I mean, what are you going to do? I'll take it, obviously, but I mean, the officiating for the NFL has just been a problem for years now. It's not just this game. They just don't hold referees accountable. If you make horrible calls, you should be punished for it. You can't
think they should be fined or suspended?
Probably not fined, but like maybe miss a few games. Make sure like. It's just they have absolutely no accountability. Like, imagine if you're at your job and you make a mistake that affects a deadline or something, or like loses your company money, and then like a week later you just like, oh yeah, we were wrong. We're acknowledging it now. Like,
my bad.
My bad. But don't worry, we'll do it again, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's gonna happen again, but I'll apologize then too, so it's all good. Yeah, that's a great analogy. But we had a major penalty that was completely on us, and that was the roughing the kicker on 4th and 20. Man, what were you thinking when that happened?
Honestly, we got a 4th down. I went to my fridge to get a snack. I was like, all right, Dak's gonna have like 2 minutes and 2 timeouts to get a touchdown. And then I come back and I see, what happened, and that's John Fossil calling a bonehead play to try. I mean, it's not like we're even like I would understand that if the Chargers were backed up in their own territory and like in the end zone, and that's the time when you bring the rush, try to block it when the punter's got to get it out quick and there's not that much room to punt. But man, when we're up, what was the score at that time? 14 to I don't even remember, but
we were up.
Yeah, we were up. We were getting the ball. We were probably going to get the ball somewhere in the 10 to the 20-yard line. As I said, 2 minutes is an eternity with 2 timeouts, and with Dak, it was just, I was furious. It was the maddest I was all game, for sure.
And that's essentially a turnover for us. We were going to get the ball back, and then they get the ball. Like, we turned the ball over because of roughing the kicker penalty. And I'm of the belief that you should never be trying to aggressively like block the kick unless you have to or unless they're backed up on their goal line, as you said. Just get the ball back, play it safe, because you are more likely to get a penalty or do something that negatively affects the team than you are to block the kick.
For
There's more
sure.
bad things that will happen. So and on 4th and 20, like there's no excuse for that. Just take your fair catch and get your offense back on the field. It's not like you have Trubisky back there.
Right? It was infuriating. And then what did Fossil say today? I forget exactly, but he's like, Cowboys fans aren't very conservative, and I wanted to just give them what they wanted or something along that
Nah,
nature. It's
don't
like,
blame us.
right? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, special teams, I know it's obviously an important asset and role to the game, but like the idea of special teams, a good special teams is when you don't have to mention special teams. You know what
Yep.
I mean? Like if
Whether you
we're
just don't
mentioning
even
special
notice them.
teams, it's usually because something bad happened. If I can go a whole season without mentioning special teams, that probably means we have good special teams. So Fossil, you can just be quiet and do your job. No need to like this. I don't know, man.
Let me take it back to the defense. How did you feel Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch performed?
Whew. I actually thought Jalen and LVE both played pretty well.
Same.
And I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, especially about Jalen, but I mean, the facts are he played pretty well. He had 54, took 54 snaps, obviously, because Micah moved over to DN for the game. So, obviously, Jalen's role at linebacker was much increased from the week one where he only got 16 snaps, but he had an coverage grade, according to PFF, of 80.5 and a tackle grade of 78. So, I mean, although not amazing, certainly better than we're accustomed to seeing from Jalen the last year and a half, 2 years. So, if people want to complain about Jalen, that's fine. But Sunday was not the game to do it. And
Exactly.
What's his face? LVE. I mean, what? He had the first sack of the year for the Cowboys. He also had a couple tackles for loss. He played more snaps than he did on last Thursday as well, obviously.
And isn't he the one that drew the holding call that turned over the touchdown?
I forget, honestly.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure. But these guys they surprised me yesterday. I felt like that was like 2018 Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch yesterday.
Oh yeah,
And,
no, go on, sir.
did you notice that on that third down pass where Jalen like swiped it, the ball's a little behind, or he like smacked the ball down? He didn't do the swipe. I was surprised.
Jared Cook.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
every right to do the swipe. I was like, swipe, Jalen. He didn't do it. So I don't know. Maybe that's just like, maybe I'm reading into it, but maybe, he has a different mindset going on.
Yeah. I mean, he played, and just one last stat on Vander Esch. He had an 83.1 pass rushing grade according to PFF. So obviously, people take what you want from PFF. I know sometimes I criticize PFF too because honestly, sometimes I don't know where they get their ratings from. But
Anthony Brown was rated higher than Trevon Diggs this week.
Was he?
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. That kind of blew my mind. So yeah, they have some hits and some misses. PFF, that's definitely a miss, but overall, I feel like they mostly have hits.
Yeah, for sure.
Why can't Jabril Cox get on the field? My excitement for Michael Parsons playing defensive end was we're finally gonna have Jabril Cox on the field, and it's not like your middle of the field was shutting them down. You were getting torched through the middle. Jabril Cox is your coverage linebacker. Why is he getting no playing time?
I mean, that's a good question. Are none of our rookies besides Osa really getting playing time at this point? I mean, Kelvin Joseph obviously on IR, but
and that was the game to play Nashawn Wright as well.
Yeah,
you have Mike Williams. That is the matchups that you want him to have, and you didn't let him get any snaps on him.
Yeah, let me look at the snap count for Nashawn Wright. I'm pretty sure they both got on the field, just not very often. And also, Kennedy needs to get on the field more too. I don't understand.
To be winning all the camp battles and then to get no reps during the actual games, it just makes it seem like the competition is all BS.
Yeah, I feel you. It doesn't make much sense. I mean, Clearly, our weak spot on defense right now is, every corner besides Diggs. So I'm not sure why we keep trotting out. And I mean, of course, when Kelvin comes back, I'm sure he'll have something to say. But I mean, it's just a little frustrating to see Anthony Brown out there all the time, and just I don't know, it's just frustrating
Well, we had an ugly game, right? But
for sure.
we won the ugly game. I'm so used to having all these pretty games where we put up all these crazy numbers and lose. So it's kind of refreshing to have this ugly game and come out with a win. First game that we've won under 30 points since 2019, I believe.
Can you believe that?
Isn't that mind-boggling?
It's wild, absolutely wild. I can't believe Dak has actually won a game in his career.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like Tony Romo had to be watching down from that broadcast booth. Like, I feel you, man. I feel you. But yeah, Cowboys fans took over the stadium. We showed out and everything. It was good to hear "Let's Go Cowboys" chants and all that. It was basically a home game.
Yeah, I heard Dak say that they didn't use the silent count once on Sunday. So I mean, that's pretty embarrassing, honestly, for the Chargers. But almost as bad as actually in 2014 when the Texans traveled to Dallas, even though the Cowboys won. The Cowboys had to use Romo said he had to use the silent count in the stadium, which is really embarrassing. But yeah, that was just a random throwback. Sorry for the digression.
No, that game in particular is crazy because the knock against that stadium is it doesn't generate much crowd noise. So if you have to use a silent count in your own stadium because of the opposing fans, that says a lot.
Yeah, it was bad. But we won, and that was Romo's famous escape from J.J. Watt bomb to Terrence Williams in the end zone.
Yep.
I'll always remember it.
And then the Dez catch in overtime.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. What'd you think of the clock management on that last drive?
Oh boy, also had me really pissed. Listen, before, like, I was perfectly fine with running the ball when there was a minute and a half left, especially on that third down and one or two. I just wanted to get the first down, and I was like 90% sure we would get it if we ran Zeke, which we did. But then what the hell were we doing? We were going so slow. I think we ran like just one play walking after that. I think we ran like one play in like or two plays in a minute and 10 seconds. It was horrible. We still had one timeout, I believe, when there was like 25 seconds left, and Dak is just waiting, not snapping it, and then he has to take a timeout with 5 seconds left because obviously can't. Thank God Zerline bailed us out. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, look, what are you doing? Like just casually walking up to the line and everything, and you have a timeout in your pocket, nobody's calling it. Just that whole thing was mind-boggling to me because you're playing for a 56-yard field goal from a kicker who was shaky at best last week. Like, the irrational confidence in Greg the Leg, but he earned his nickname back.
For sure.
And yeah, he nailed that kick, and it feels like we got bailed out and we kind of survived our own coach when that kick went through.
Yeah, no doubt. He bailed us out. But also, if I was I was reading this also somewhere, but the Chargers also not ideal time management. I mean, they had 2 or 3 timeouts possibly even. And man, like when you see the Cowboys draining clock and they're in field goal position, why don't you call some timeouts, try to get the ball back? Like, that's just me. I would be pissed too if I was a Chargers fan on that.
Yeah, you're leaving yourself with a 0% possibility of winning if you have no time. At least give yourself something.
And what are you trying to hold? Timeouts don't roll over, man. You might as well use them.
Right. This is completely unrelated, but it bothers me when it's like the last play of the game and you see all the laterals and everything, and then you see the one guy just take the fall and get tackled or whatever. Like, nah, throw the ball up. Like, it don't matter. What's the worst that'll happen? They scoop it and score and add on to their lead. Like, you're giving yourself no chance to win if you don't at least throw it up.
No, I feel you on that.
But yeah, we have the Eagles coming up next week. How are you feeling about this game coming up? I see they're missing Brandon Graham.
Yeah, they're missing Brandon Graham, which obviously will be good for Terrence Steele. So he doesn't have to go up against Brandon Graham, who's notoriously very good against the Cowboys. So you hate to see a player injured, but obviously that helps us out. And
We
Brandon
won a
Brooks,
game missing 7 starters, so I don't want to hear
I don't want to hear it either. And
it.
they also lost. They also just put Brandon Brooks on IR, their right guard, who is like a top 5 right guard in the league. So
Yep.
that's also a huge loss for them. Honestly, if we lose to the Eagles, I'll be speechless. I don't know what will happen. We're clearly the better team. It's our home debut for the season. Monday night, the crowd should be rocking.
We're
And
rolling as a team.
I mean, we've played really well in 2 games so far. So yeah, I mean, I think Dak also has a huge game on Monday night. I think the Eagles' rush defense is a lot better than their pass defense. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Dak gets back on track against the Eagles. And Amari Cooper has had a lot of good games against the Eagles. So I'm looking for that connection to come back in full swing on Monday night. But yeah, if I'm basically expecting the Cowboys to win handily, honestly.
I said the same thing yesterday.
The only thing I'm worried about is the Cowboys aren't really the best with mobile quarterbacks. So,
do you think Micah will be a QB spy?
Could be. I mean, Randy Gregory's coming back, so that will help our pass rush and allow Micah to probably move away from the defensive end position. I know Dan Quinn said he still wants to use him as a linebacker. Yeah, that would probably be pretty helpful, considering he's probably faster than Hurts.
Yeah. 4.38 or something like that.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, I mean what I gotta say is the Cowboys defensive ends and the linebackers, they just got to contain. They got to contain. They cannot lose contain on the edge and on these quarterback options. Let Jalen Hurts just run wild. That will be the one reason this game is close if the Cowboys can't figure that out.
Yeah, but overall, I feel like we had pretty good matchups. Trevon Diggs, I trust him whether he's on Smith or Rager. I feel like he's gonna win that matchup.
I'm like really confident. I'll be shocked if we lose.
Yeah, and a conversation going around again on Twitter is I've seen some people that want to pigeonhole Micah Parsons to one position, and I feel like that limits his what makes him so great. Because a lot of what his value is his positional change. We can move him around and everything. And say we're playing a team with a bad offensive line or something, or maybe you're out of defensive end. You can plug him in to play defensive end. Or maybe you need help on the back end with the because your linebackers are light, and maybe you're playing has great receivers. You can play him at linebacker. You can exploit the matchups. And I feel like if you pigeonhole him to one position, you are taking away what makes him so valuable.
Completely agree. I mean, you don't get defenders like this that are versatile like Parsons is very often. As you said, he has 4.38 speed, 4.39 speed, which is crazy. So I mean, and he obviously showed he's got some burst to be a pass rusher on Sunday. I mean,
he could be a double-digit sack artist as a rookie, just not playing defensive end since high school.
Yeah, it was. I mean, how freakish of an athlete do you need to be able to do that? It's just next level stuff. But one thing that I would obviously, he hasn't been asked to do this much considering it's only been 2 games, but I would like to see him see what he can do in coverage, which was supposedly one of his weak points coming out of college. So maybe I don't know, but
he's got the speed and instincts for it. I'd like to see it too.
But yeah, I think moving Parsons around and putting him where the mismatches lie, I think that's what we need to do. And I think Dan Quinn has showed through the first 2 games that he's willing to change up his scheme, willing to put players in the best places to succeed. So I have full confidence in Dan Quinn and how he'll handle the situation.
All right, Kevin, I got one more question before I get you out of here.
Yeah, go for it.
How many quarterbacks are better than Dak Prescott right now?
All right, let's see. Let's name them all because it's a very short list. Tom Brady.
Okay.
Uh,
He's playing incredible right now. Shout out to him being all goatly.
yeah, I don't know how he does it, honestly. 44 years
44.
old. Tom Brady. Honestly, I got in a not really a conversation, but someone on Twitter said that Dak was better than Russell Wilson, which I don't think he is. I think it's close, but I think Russell Wilson's better.
You give him the edge right now.
Who else?
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes, of course. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league.
What about Aaron Rodgers?
Honestly, Aaron Rodgers is better. I don't care what he did in week 1. I mean, if he continues to struggle this year, I don't know what's going on in the game right now. I imagine the Packers are dominating. But one bad game doesn't take away Aaron Rodgers' greatness. He has
everybody has him.
Yeah, exactly. And I still think Rodgers is better. So that leaves Dak at number 5 right now. Trying to think of any quarterbacks. He's better than Josh Allen. He's better than Lamar Jackson. He's better than Kyler Murray. He's better than Justin Herbert. Yeah, I'll put him at 5. If I'm forgetting someone.
What about Deshaun Watson when he plays?
Yeah, I think he's better than Deshaun.
I'm so happy he's our quarterback.
Yeah, I'm happy too, and I don't want to take away anything from Dak, but if you've been following, I don't follow the Seahawks, but they're on TV a lot, and when you watch Red Zone, they're all over Red Zone because of Russell Wilson. But
Russ is incredible too.
The guy's deep ball is immaculate. He never misses a deep ball. It seems like it's like on point all the time, and so far he has 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the year. He has a passer rating of like above 135 on the year, even though it's only 2 games. It's absurd. But yeah, it's close, I think. But I still love that.
Yeah. All right, man. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, as you said, little podcast called Cowboys Campfire Chatter. You can search that on Spotify. You can search that on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes, Stitcher. You could also find me on Twitter, where I will interact with you. Love fan interaction at Cowboys CC9. The 9 is for Romo, just in case you all were wondering. So yeah, Cowboys CC9 on Twitter. Hit me up if you want to be on the show too. Always love having guests. So yeah, feel free.
All right, man. It's always great talking to you. I appreciate you coming on to my show and doing me the honor, sir.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it so much. Yeah, so thank you very much. You're a great host, and pleasure doing the show with you, and we'll definitely talk soon.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Peace.